Bonjour à tout le monde. Donc, dans l'idée de faire parler les artistes de leur travail, je suis très heureux d'être en compagnie de Huy Lam. Huy Lam est un artiste de Toronto qui a été invité conjointement par la Galerie et par Jérôme Fortin. Grâce à la Foire Papier, on a découvert le travail de Huy dans le kiosque de la Galerie de Toronto, United Contemporary, et on a trouvé que c'était très à propos par rapport à la nouvelle série d'œuvres de Jérôme. Donc on a demandé à Huy s'il pouvait exposer en même temps, et Huy nous a fait la grande surprise de faire des œuvres spécifiquement pour l'exposition. So Huy, welcome to Montreal. We're really delighted to have you, and also your generosity that following the invitation to show in parallel to Jérôme, that you actually did some new works just for the show. So I wanted to know if you could talk to us, because there's two things that always intrigues me in your body of work. First of all, the title of the show, it's called Varied Course, Parcours varié. And secondly, you have the most interesting titles, and I know that the viewers will be able to go on the website to see each of the works, but I thought it would be interesting to hear you talk about those two things.
First of all, thank you for having me here. It's really honored, and I feel really excited. In terms of titles, I've always had problems with trying to name my pieces, and so most of the titles come from the source of material of where the sources come from. So for instance, this new piece, which is one of the largest collages I've done of this series, is named The Dawn Says Hello, and it literally comes from this. Which is an advertisement from a rum company. And yeah, so all the titles come from some sort of text from whatever the source is, whether it's a recipe, because a lot of this material comes from the Ontario's LCBO magazine or Foodism. So whatever that comes from, that's the title I use. It's funny, people like it, and people ask, and it helps me from having to come up with titles.
It's interesting that you're selecting works from magazines that you're cutting, because Jérôme's most important show was actually a solo that he had at the Musée d'Art Contemporain, and he used, for example, manga or cinema posters. So it's interesting that this parallel in both your work.
Yeah, basically it comes down to source of material, and that is access to source of material. And maybe I've thought about this a little bit because of my upbringing or where I grew up, and that is I find sources that are basically free and cheap, that I have access to, that I can get repeated sources. So for instance, like for this, I'm able to just go to the magazine and grab like a stack of them and get like, as many pages as I want, because what happens is I'm using the same repetitive forms of it. So same thing with this.
I do like the humor in your work also, in addition to the titles, the way that you select the forms and the content of the forms. There's all these, I believe, these inside stories that you're telling yourself and you're letting the viewer discover.
Yeah, I mean, my background is photography, so I've always looked at light and contrast and trying to create perception, and I think I do this subconsciously now, but I wanted the viewer to look at specific things and where their eyes follow. So like for this instance, I use this tone of this sort of, how do I describe it, kind of mute monotone, and it comes from these two ads, and I'm using...
Sorry, I'm going to show the viewers. So they are actually ads of booze.
Wine, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And so like for this instance, I start at this part where it gets lighter to darker, at this side so that it looks like it's three-dimensional, that it's folding.
And it's interesting because for the viewers that don't know your practice, you're also a sculptor. So this element, you're sculpting the forms through your collage here.
Yeah. I just had a solo show at United, and some of the sculptures were actually, the show is really about going from 2D to 3D. So some of the sculptures were actually replicas of the collage, is almost identical, and trying to see if it comes in 3D. But they complement each other, and I guess I think that way. I think in 3D, I go back and forth. I just do. I don't there's no grand plan. So
this is great. Well, you know, Huy, I think Montreal is quite lucky that you thought of this conversation with Jérôme within your own practice. And I'm going to invite the viewers to actually go on your website so they can explore also the multifacets of your production, both the collage, but also the photos and the sculpture.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.